Hi, welcome to CJ Creates. I'm CJ, and I create stuff. Welcome to week 4, which is crazy to say, of my month-long drawing challenge for the month of April. This is PLZApril, or Pokémon Legends Z April. The pun doesn't work as well if you say the whole name of the game, but regardless, I'm drawing all of the leaked Mega Pokemon that are going to be in the upcoming Pokémon Legends ZA game. So, now's your time to turn away if you don't like spoilers. I don't want any complaints. You've been warned. So don't watch this if that's not your thing. If it is your thing, which it is very much my thing, then welcome. Let's talk spoilers. The first Pokemon we're talking about today is the final Mega starter Pokemon that I'm drawing as part of this challenge. Now, I've already designed Chestnut, Delphox, Greninja, as well as Feraligatr and Emboar, but this is a really special one to me. I have always loved Meganium. I know it gets a lot of hate. People feel it's plain or whatever. I just think it looks inviting, maybe is the right word, and so it's always had a special place in my heart. Now, I already did designs for Meganium, Emboar, and Feraligatr back when they got announced as the starters for Pokemon Legends CA. I love these Pokemon. They're all great, and I think they're all kind of underrated and overhated, so to give them a little bit of love is exactly what I want to be doing. Now, if you compare this Mega Meganium design to my original, it's probably the one that underwent the most changes between the original video I made and now. The reason for that being is that I feel like I over-designed my original Mega Meganium. It had just too much going on. Now, that's not uncommon for Mega Pokemon. They usually are busier than a typical Pokemon design, but I wanted to simplify my shape language in order to better sell my concept for Mega Meganium. If you didn't see the original video, Mega Meganium, in my opinion, should be a grass electric type. I think it's the most interesting and the most exciting, especially because I want to take a concept that already exists in Pokemon and push it a step further. You can use Sunny Day in conjunction with Solar Beam in order to be faster, right? Solar Beam doesn't need its recharge time or its charge time when you have Sunny Day in effect. I think that Meganium should be able to absorb this sunlight, which is something that plants innately do, and convert it into strong electrical attacks. You can see that on its antennae or horns or whatever they are, as well as on its tail, it has these glowing pistils. Pistil is a word for plants. You can look it up. I'm not going to explain it. It's a part of a plant. It's not a gun. And the ends of these are kind of where that electric typing is going to shine through. I imagine that the flowers on its neck and tail kind of close and open just like you would with solar panels, which is why I've simplified their designs to be much straighter and flatter in order to better absorb that sunlight compared to my initial design. Meet Mega Meganium. Mega Meganium has a bizarre physiology that seems to be able to convert sunlight directly into electricity. The many petals that line its neck and tail increase its surface area when unfolded, allowing it to absorb greater amounts of sunlight and recharge itself incredibly quickly. Now we're going to cover something which I believe to be an inevitability in Pokemon Legends EA, and it's that this specific Pokemon is going to have 2 Mega forms. You may say, why is that? Well, it's because its base forms already have that sexual dimorphism, or one looks different when it's a boy versus a girl going on, and I think it would be a shame to Mega Evolve them into the exact same form. It'd almost be like taking Megalodios and Megalodios and making them the same Pokemon, essentially. That'd be crazy and a bad idea, right? Right. Well, either way, I'm going to apply the same concept to my Mega Pyroars, both male and female, but they're still going to look different. I want them, instead of being just a lion, which, in my opinion, I don't even think they're that good of lions when they're in their base form. But instead of just being a lion, now they're going to be a flying lion. It's not quite a griffin, right? Because a griffin has a bird head. But I want them to have wings. I want them to be regal. I want them to have greater command over the land and sky. So both of them are going to get bigger poofs of fur, larger flares of that fur, as well as wings made of that fiery fur that help them take to the sky and be hunters. Like I said, my main problem with base Pyroar is that it's just kind of there. To me, it doesn't it just doesn't excite me, I guess. It doesn't feel regal. It doesn't feel like a king, which I heavily associate with lions. So taking the chance to really give a proper upgrade to these designs was something I was super excited for. That being said, that's just my opinion. So if you disagree with me, I want to know, do you like Pyroar? And if so, why? Do you think that it does a good job of representing lions? I like the sexual dimorphism that it captures. That part is very cool, but that's all it really has going for it in my opinion. Meet Mega Pyroar. Mega Pyroar's appearance depends on its gender. Regardless, it has sprouted fiery wings that allow it to rule the sky and land with ease. Its firepower is said to be hot enough to melt cars, and its keen eyes make it the ultimate hunter. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I say that a lot of Pokemon are my favorite Pokemon on this channel, and I really am very shameless about having a lot of favorite Pokemon. But this Pokemon has always been one of my favorites since my original playthrough of Pokemon White, back when I was I had to have been 14, I think. And here's why. It's a centipede, but it's not a centipede, it's actually a horse. You could disagree with me. I really genuinely believe that Scolipede is a horse, disguised as a centipede. If you look at its body plan, the way especially that its legs are structured, it's just a horse with a bug head and mouth, but still, I really don't think there's that much of a debate. So I wanted to turn my Mega Scolipede into, first of all, more of a centipede, but I also want it to kind of still resemble a horse in a way. You can disagree with me on if I accomplished that or if Scolipede's a horse, but here's what I did. You'll notice that its body is really in 3 sections, and those are segmented by the number of legs. I'm adding an extra set of legs. It already has little pokies on each of its body segments, but those aren't necessarily legs. I think they're just meant to imply that centipede, lots of legs thing. Instead, I'm giving it an extra true set of legs, and that one's going to sit right in the middle. Now, the front legs are going to support the front half of the body, and the very back legs will support the back half. But that back half, the tail that's already there, I'm going to turn into another centipede head. It'll be a false head, but that's exactly what real centipedes have, is they have a secondary false head that doesn't have a brain or anything. It just looks like its head on their tails, on their end, in order to intimidate and confuse potential predators. On top of that, I'm also giving it 2 giant tusk pincer things because I really want it to be able to grab, latch onto, and feed. Feels like a gross word, but I want it to be scary. I want it to be more of a predator, just like a centipede is. So, meet Mega Scolipede. Mega Scolipede has not sprouted a second head despite appearances. Instead, it uses the false head on its tail to draw prey close before chasing them down at high speeds. It uses its giant tusks to pin and hold its prey while it injects them with strong toxins. One thing that I really like to do with these designs is really try and think outside of the box. What is everyone else going to be doing, and what can I do differently? When I make something, I want it to add to the narrative. And I think there's a real value to going through and reading the Pokédex entries of these Pokemon before I draw anything. With Mega Scrafty specifically, despite its gimmick being its shed skin, hood, and pants, its Pokédex entries are actually all about its mohawk and its nonchalant attitude. Basically, they say 2 things. It may not look like it's kicking that hard, but when it does kick, this Pokemon can break concrete pillars, the kind that Conkeldurr holds. It cites those specifically with very little effort. The second thing that it says is that the bigger the mohawk, the more respect it gets from all the other Scrafty that's running around with, and the one with the biggest and best mohawk is the leader. So, for my Mega Scrafty, I'm just going to give it a giant mohawk. It sounds silly, but I really think it's kind of an opportunity to make another Mega Slowbro. Mega Slowbro is beloved, not because it's the coolest of designs. I mean, it is cool, but it takes that cloister shell, even though it doesn't look like a cloister anymore, and just turns it into something huge and awesome. I want Mega Scrafty's mohawk to just get massive. I've also had to increase the size of its shed in order to be able to cover it, but even then, I think for lore reasons, even though its hood is bigger, it still can't fit all the way over the mohawk. The mohawk is just so big. And this increased shed also kind of gives it a natural face covering for its mouth because it can no longer just cover its head. It balances it out that way. I've also added bigger spikes to the tail, and I've given it little baby spikes on its arms. I think that new arrow shape that I've given to the mohawk pieces, the tail piece and the arm fins, really gives this a sharper, more aggressive design, even though it's supposed to be nonchalant about its behavior. But I want you to see it. I want it to be able to look intimidating, and that's why I've given it that shape. Meet Mega Scrafty. Mega Scrafty's attitude would leave you to believe that it is all bark and no bite. Despite its disinterested attack patterns, a blow from this Pokemon can destroy massive boulders. Its giant mohawk no longer fits inside of its hood and marks it as a leader. Mega Skarmory is interesting to me because I like base Skarmory, but to me, I think it has gotten left behind a little bit by later generations of Pokemon. It's a cool idea, this metal bird that flies around at high speeds, but in terms of its execution, you could call it plain compared to more recent Pokemon. Now, that's not completely true. You look at things like Flamigo, that's just a flamingo with a knot in its neck, but we definitely have an opportunity here to take a Pokemon that is beloved and should still be beloved, but really bring it into more modern Pokemon concepts, right? One thing that is very cool, again, about Pokedex entries, is that for Skarmories, it mentions that it can fly at 180 to 190 miles per hour. Now, that's very, very fast. It's got hollow steel wings. I don't know how that works, but it does, and it'll use them to slash through things as it flies at these high speeds. It's very cool. Its design doesn't say that to me. This Pokemon doesn't even look that fast if you look at base Skarmory. So, my Mega Skarmory is going to really sell that concept. I want it to look fast, and I want it to look dangerous. Now, if I were to ask you what the fastest, most dangerous thing in the air might be, you might think of an animal. But I think of fighter jets, those things that fly super fast and break the sound barrier and are pretty cool, if we're going to be honest. So I want my Mega Skarmory to be a fighter jet. Now, we kind of already get that in Garchomp, right? It's got the little fake jet engines on the sides of its head, but I think we can take this a step further. You'll notice that Mega Skarmory's wings now resemble the shape of those fighter jet wings. It's got little bulbs where the engines would be on one of these planes, and its tail now resembles an afterburner. So we've got a couple different things. I've also taken the liberty of adding a pattern to its top beak to resemble the glass panes of a fighter jet. So I really do think it looks faster and resembles that sleek aerodynamic excellence that comes with being a Mach 1 or faster fighter jet. Meet Mega Skarmory. Upon Mega Evolving, Mega Skarmory gains the ability to break the sound barrier while flying. While many Pokemon can fly at high speeds, none can match Mega Skarmory. Its body is hollow and can be easily damaged if it crashes while in flight. For the last of our 7 Mega Pokemon that we're going to cover today, I'm counting Pyroars too, we're going to talk about Mega Starmie. Now, there has been a lot of specific leaks about Mega Starmie, and I'm ignoring them. So, if mine doesn't look like what you're expecting at all, don't be surprised. But there's a good reason for that. From everything I've seen from the leaks, Mega Starmie does not get me excited, I guess is the right word. I'm nervous, and that's because I like Starmie. It's a weird Pokemon. It doesn't have a face. It has this energy core that can change colors to show its emotions. There's a lot going on with Mega Starmie, and I want it to be done justice. That's why my Mega Starmie is getting a lot of attention. I gave this thing a couple different run-throughs trying to get the lines all into the right place, and it's tricky. I don't know how I feel about using rulers for some things. It's nice if I just need one straight line here or there, but when an entire design like this is so geometric, I feel like if I'm not careful, overusing rulers can lose some of the personality that I really enjoy about my art style. So My Mega Starmie, that's supposed to be this planetary, cosmic being with a giant core that's enveloped its body and a metallic ring that now spins around it just like it does on Saturn, as well as some extra cores that orbit it like moons. That kind of intense concept, I worry could get diminished by an overuse of rulers. That being said, honestly, it was nearly impossible to do this without them, so I don't know. I guess I'm at a loss. I am really proud of how this design turned out, though. When I think of my original concept and my execution, I think this is about as close as I could have gotten with the time that I've given myself per day for each of these drawings. It's not a lot, and so to have pulled this off is something I'm very proud of. I love that it kind of looks emotionless and to me keeps the same energy as base Starmie, but takes it somewhere that I think a lot of people aren't expecting. Meet Mega Starmie. Mega Starmie seems to be in tune with the movements of celestial bodies. Its freed metallic ring and spare cores orbit around its enlarged core, which has enveloped its body. Its psychic powers are so strong that it can pull water from the air to generate its attacks. And there you have it. Bada bing, bada boom. 7 mega Pokemon for you. I'll never do that again, I promise. I'm sorry. I had to give it a shot. I had to give it a shot. Anyways, 7 mega Pokemon. Honestly, of all of the 4 weeks that I've done this so far, I think that this week has the best consistency in terms of execution. I love how these Pokemon turned out. I'm really proud of each and every one of them. But let me know what you think. Would you have done anything different? And what would you expect to see when these Pokemon do Mega Evolve in the game? Until then, thank you.